1919.
Okay.
Prior to that, it was a horse stable, or excuse me, a Buick garage, and then a horse stable before that. So the grounds have been used for quite a while. So it became a theater in 1919. It's gone through all the different stages of theater. It was a vaudeville theater. Then they transitioned into silent pictures, and then after that, finally they installed the talkies in the 1930s. And in the 30s is when the theater overwent the whole Art Deco restoration, the style that you see now. So it was active for quite a few years, and then once the 80s came around and like multiplexes and stuff started opening up, this theater kind of became obsolete. It closed down for about a decade, and then a nonprofit group came in, put in a whole bunch of effort into the theater, reopened it. It was a whole grand big thing. It was only open for about 4 years, and then the roof inside here collapsed in a rainstorm and undid all of the work that this group had put into it. So it was closed for another 2 years. The community came together, big effort to put in all the seats, new screen, all that kind of fun stuff. And then it reopened in 2000 when the city of Allegan purchased it, and it's been operating as a city-owned entity since then. Okay. So, and yeah, it's like I said, it's been around for a really long time, and even back before it closed down for the decade in the 80s, there was always ghost stories, and people have felt a hand on their shoulder when they're watching the movie, a cold breath on the back of their neck kind of thing, and some other more specific stories too that we can get into as we move along.
Okay.
I can tell you now. So this is just the main auditorium. One of the stories that I've been told, this is prior to me being here as manager, but there was a group of kids that came in, friends of the then manager, and when they all walked into the room, they were coming in, and one of the girls of the group stopped at the door and asked who the people were on the stage. And the group was like, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "There's people on the stage," and nobody could see the other people on the stage. And she described them as being dressed in like clothing of the 30s, just standing on the stage, kind of looking at them. And she refused to come in the room. So that was kind of spooky. And then, like I said earlier too. People have come out and said that they felt a little touch on their shoulder, on the back of their neck or something. Yeah, so that's... What's his nickname? He started working as a child across the street. There used to be a theater right across the street there, and his whole backstory, I mean, it sounds like something out of a movie. He was orphaned as a kid, so he grew up with his aunt here in downtown Allegan in the early 1900s, and he was like 12, 13 years old, and his aunt was like, "You gotta get a job, you gotta start providing for this family and her kids and everything." So he starts working at the theater like 12, 13 years old. That theater closed down, the Regent Theatre opens up across the street, and he starts working there as just like taking tickets. He grows up, he's as a concessionaire, he's an usher, yada yada. Time moves on, he becomes a projectionist. So he was through the vaudeville, the black and white silent, colored picture, color sound, excuse me, and yeah, stuck with the theater this whole time. When it shut down, when it reopened as a nonprofit, he was still here. He was always a projectionist. He passed away after the roof collapsed, so I want to say it was about 99 when he died. So, I mean, he was here from the beginning of the Regent Theatre till his death. And everybody always says nowadays, "Oh, it's Falky. Falky's here, Falky's doing stuff." One of the things that he liked to do when he was working here, like the girls with their long hair, he'd walk by and he'd like kind of just flick their hair just playfully. It wasn't creepy or anything. He was a really nice guy. And he would just kind of flick their hair back. And after he passed, there were girls that were working here that would feel that same brush on their hair, and they would like, "Oh, that's Falky." Myself, one of the things that happens quite consistently, the marquee is turned on in that electric box there. So I have to come up, I turn the marquee on. By the time I make my way back down, the marquee is off. And I'm like, "What the heck?" And it's happened dozens of times, and I'll come back up and it's switched in the off position when I know 100% I did turn it on. So that one I chalk up to Falky. One that I just learned of, the manager at the time of Falky's death and another store owner across the street was quite active here working. The night of Falky's funeral, they were closing up the Regent Theatre. They were walking out across the street, and they always just do a double check, make sure everything's locked up, turned off. And the two of them were across the street, and they turned around and they swear that they saw Falky in the projectionist window, looking down at the street at him, just chilling in his little spot up there. So, yeah, I never met him, but I heard he was a very cool guy, and he obviously is very connected to this place. So, if I were to believe anyone were here, it would be him.
Hamlet.
Boo. Yeah, I just watched